very good morning once again and welcome. This is Fila FM 89.3. It's 7 minutes to the top of the hour, and once we have come back to you today, being Tuesday, we're coming your way with our mental health show. And today we're looking at how to be less judgmental. How to be less judgmental. Last week we talked about how to be more confident, and today we're looking at how to be less judgmental. So joining me in the studio to discuss this all important topic, I have Barnabas Atangongo together with Emanuela. They are here and they will tell us more about this. We are live on Facebook, Fila FM 89.3. So remember to join us on Facebook Live, and remember to also share. It is by kind courtesy comes in Matthew. My name is Akosuya Kwatema Boache. So let me take this opportunity to welcome my guests into the studio. Barnabas and Ella, good morning.
Good morning, AKV.
Good morning, AKV.
And welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, so how to be less judgmental? What does it mean to be judgmental, Barnabas?
Okay. Good morning to our cherished listeners and all those who have been supporting us to be able to bring you this wonderful information. Okay. So when we talk about what it means to be judgmental, I would like to first of all start with what we mean by if someone is even judging, or what we mean by judgment. So when we talk about judgment deals with you forming an opinion or making an evaluation based on some discerning information and comparing those informations. So that's according to the Merriam-Webster dictionary. So judgment is when you have facts around you, or you have information around you, and based on those facts you make evaluations or you discern from them to form an opinion. That is what you mean by judgment. And when it comes to the aspect of being judgmental mostly look at when people are looking at things through their own lenses, and in these lenses they are criticizing those people that they are seeing or those people that they are viewing. So if we say you are being judgmental, it means that you are looking at things through a lens of criticisms. So you are not just looking at the thing based on the information that you have, based on the facts that you have on the ground, but you are looking at it and you are forming an opinion based on the fact that the idea that you want to criticize people. But the truth is that when we talk about being judgmental as individuals, sometimes we all experience those things, or we all become judgmental at a certain point in time, because when we talk about it, being judgmental is also part of the human nature. The example is that if we were not having that capability in us, that skill in us to be judgmental, sometimes you will not be able to differentiate between what is wrong and what is right. So for instance, you meet someone and looking at the person's dressing, looking at how the person is behaving towards you, and you're able to sense that this person, if I go much closer to the person might kidnap me. So all of a sudden, because you have that judgmental sense in you, you may run away from that person. So we are not going to say if we are judgmental in a whole, like being judgmental in a whole is a bad thing, but we are going to look at the aspect where we become overly judgmental to people that are around us. So that is what we are going to, our discussion is going to focus on. But we have to know that at once in our life, or during the course of our daily activities, as individuals as we are, we have that capability to be judgmental sometimes, but we don't want it to be only overly judgmental to the extent that our loved ones or people around us that are supporting and helping us, we will criticize them to the extent that they will not be able to function or we will not be able to make meaningful relationship with them. So when you talk about being judgmental, you look at things through your own lenses, and in this instance you are looking at them or informing opinion based on criticism. So you are not looking at it based on the information that you have to make a suggestion or to make an opinion, but you just seeing it, you feel like, let me just criticize this person. So a typical example is that we all make judgments about people, sometimes even seeing people's dressing, seeing someone being quiet, and sometimes we base on that and make our judgment. So a typical example is that in schools there can be certain people that you realize that most of the time these people are quiet. They are always restricted to themselves. The easiest opinion that people form is that this person if you say the minimum born and nipa radio umpe nipa radio on can whom man nipa then we train you near 2D anti so then you are walking around it. So that is how we become judgmental towards people in that regard. So today we are going to learn how we can go beyond just looking at the person and just making an opinion that, oh, because I just sense this from this person is this. So we are going to learn how we are going to move beyond this and make, if we are going to judge certain things, we are going to judge it based on evidence, based on information, and we are also going to reduce that negative aspect of always seeing the negative side of people and concluding on it in that way. So AKB, that is what we mean by if someone is being judgmental.
Okay, thank you very much, Barnabas. Now coming to Ella, how do I know that I'm a judgmental person?
Alright, AKB. So here I'll be talking about four major characteristics of judgmental people, or four major things that people who are judgmental often do. So one thing is they frequently criticize others. So they find themselves criticizing people who do things that they don't see to be common. So if people's lifestyles or people's choices deviate from what they think is the normal, you see this person constantly criticizing or judging the person for doing what they are doing, irrespective of the situation the person finds themselves in. So the person will feel like, me, if I was the one in this situation, I would have done things differently. But then because someone else has done it in a different way, we might not understand the exact characteristics of the situation the person is facing. It might look similar to that of yours, but you, because you think that, oh, it is very simple, it shouldn't be like that. When the person takes a decision, they feel like it's not a decision they would have taken. They frequently criticize the person because, hey, you, why are you doing things like this? Me, I wouldn't have done things like that. Another characteristic, or another way you can know if you're a judgmental person, is you constantly make assumptions about people based on the limited information you have about the person. So for instance, we see a guy with dreadlocks and we already assume that this one there, he's a drunkard, this one he abuses drugs, he does this. So as I heard of a story where a guy took his fiancée home to meet his parents, and she had a tattoo on her hand, and automatically the parents were very receptive of her when she was present. They were smiling, but when they went home, they called the guy and asked him to leave the lady because she can't amount to anything. She has a tattoo, she's a bad girl, she's this. But they didn't know that the person they are even calling a bad girl is more successful than the guy and every single person in his family. Okay. And also the tattoo is there because she's honoring somebody she lost when she was younger. Okay. So yeah, we tend to judge people based on the little things that we see about them. So somebody will tell you, I'm a teacher, then you automatically assume that this one there, you are poor, because they say teachers don't teachers don't have money. Yeah, so we make people who are judgmental often make false assumptions, or make assumptions about people based on limited information they have about the person. Another thing is they have difficulty accepting different perspectives. So if a perspective is different from what they believe in or what they hold to be true, to them it is wrong, and there's nothing you can tell this person to convince the person. Even if the person gives you a listening ear, you see the person starts to become defensive or dismissive of whatever it is that you are talking about. So people in this category, they find it difficult to accept other perspectives because to them what is not theirs or what is not like them is wrong. And then the last thing I'll talk about is people like this believe that they are always right and everything else is wrong. So if something is different from what they believe in, it means that that thing is wrong, no matter what you say to such a person. And so the person will constantly criticize you for having a different opinion, even if your opinion is right. The person doesn't is not open minded enough to understand whatever it is that you are talking about. So these are some of the four main ways by which you can know if you are a judgmental person. So that's if you frequently make assumptions about people, you have difficulty accepting other perspective, you believe you are always right, and then you are often criticizing everybody who deviates from what you believe is the normal thing.
So you talked about people who are open-minded. There are some people who are open-minded. They speak their mind. So can you tell us the difference between a judgmental person and an open-minded person?
Okay, so thank you very much. So when we look at judgmental people, as Ella has enumerated some of them, I'm going to talk about what the qualities that judgmental people possess, and we also look at in the other way around, if someone is open-minded, the qualities that they are going to also showcase. So with people who are judgmental, one thing that we are going to see is that they are going to be overly critical. The word is overly critical, not just critical, because at certain point in time in our life, during our activities, we have to be critical about certain things. But these people, they become overly critical, and sometimes their criticisms does not really merit it. It doesn't really, it's not bounded, or it cannot be substantiated in that regard. So if judgmental people are mostly overly critical, with people who are open-minded, we see them to be much understanding. So we see some empathy that is being shown in there. So they are much understanding. They make way to really understand what is happening around them. Another thing is that judgmental people are going to always or mostly make negative assumptions without having all the facts. So they just see your face, and by the time that they realize, just as people who have very dark mouth, even though there are people that smoke that have a very dark mouth, genetically there are certain people that also have very dark lips. So the moment you see the person and the person has dark lips, then you are like, you looks like you are a smoker. And back in school, there's one guy in my room that used to get that a lot because his mouth is very dark. So the moment you see him, you are going to say he's a real smoker. And honestly, so the moment the person someone sees the mouth and say, "Oh, you are a smoker," and he's trying to deny, he said, "But look at your eyes. Your eyes also looks reddish. So it means that probably you just even smoked before coming here." So with people who are judgmental, mostly we make negative assumptions without having all the facts. So we don't have all the facts, but they make assumptions on that. And when we come to open-minded people, what they do is that they keep an open mind and they try to look for the best in people and situations. So just beyond what they are seeing within them, is there an opportunity for them to see other things related to you, other things that are not obviously covert to them in that regard. Then another future that we can see between these two groups is that with judgmental people, they see the world through personal biases. So for them, they judge everything through their bias. So if someone like a particular person or someone from a particular place did something bad to them, then it means that every person from that place is bad. They are seeing it from their bias because that is their bias, and they don't like those people from that place. Once they don't like those people from that place, they feel like all people from that place are bad. Then with open-minded people, what they do is that they maintain fair and reasonable outlook. So if we are saying fair, they try to consider the merits of cases from both ends. So try to weigh the demerits and the merits. Okay. So they don't judge you based on someone that they know that just did something to them. And even if they will do that, they are going to give you the opportunity to prove yourself to them in the process. And another thing is that we normally see judgmental people to lack empathy.
Okay.
Because if you just see someone and you just make a conclusion about a person without even knowing the facts, it means that you don't show empathy to that person. So if you are much more understanding, if you are much more considerate, you wouldn't make that judgment of that person.
Okay.
But with open-minded people, we see them to be much empathetic. Open-minded people will will be much available to you, to understand you, to make sure that they understand the situation or the condition or the circumstances that you are going through, to before they can make a judgment on that regard. Then the next thing is that with judgmental people, they devalue others in order to feel superior, and that is a very bad feature or characteristic that a human being should possess. So if you are trying to devalue others, you are saying negative things about someone just to make you feel good, then that is a very bad characteristic. But with open-minded people, we see them, they don't normally compare themselves to others. So that is how life should be. We are all living our life. It is not a race about who will get to where, who will get to the top, or who is last. So with open-minded people, they don't mostly compare themselves to other people. The next key feature that we see between these two groups is that with judgmental people, they see others as opponents or competitors.
Okay.
So the moment they see you are coming into their space, they feel like you are going to compete them. They are seeing you as their opponent. So whatever that they are doing, they do it in a sense that they want you to know that they don't like you, or they are seeing you as someone that is trying to compete them. But with open-minded people, they have healthy, supportive relationship with other people. So yes, the person might come to do even a similar work that you are doing, but is there opportunity for you guys to collaborate to make the work better? So with open-minded people, they will explore that opportunity. So you tend to see them having or building a supportive relationship or having a healthy relationship with other people. And this is not a competitive relationship, or they see you as opponent. And the last thing that I will say is that with judgmental people, we have also identified that they are often unhappy. So most of the time, people who are judgmental, you will see them to be not happy. So they are going to be sad, because always it's the negative side of things that you are seeing. But with open-minded people, they are contempt. So contempt here is not about being happy. It's about being okay or satisfied with whatever little that they have. So if you are satisfied, that satisfaction will give you that happiness that you need. But with people who are mostly judgmental, we normally see them to be sad, because all of the time they are seeing people as to be competitors. So once they see that, oh, you are rising more than me, then it means that I'm not doing something well. So they see themselves as inferior, or they feel like they've not gotten to where they have to go to. So they are normally sad. They are normally not happy people. But with people who are open-minded, they are often content, and you tend to see them being satisfied with their life, being happy with the life that they are living. So AKB, these are some of the features that we can identify or we can see when it comes to people who are judgmental and open-minded.
Okay, so if judgmental people, they are negative, mostly sad, and all these things that you've mentioned in comparison to open-minded people, could there be any benefits of being less judgmental? What are the benefits of being less judgmental?
Okay, AKB. Yes, there are benefits of actually being non-judgmental. So some of the benefits of being non-judgmental, that one benefit is that it improves relationship.
Okay.
Nobody would want to be in any form of relationship, be it friendship, romantic relationship, or any kind, with somebody who constantly criticizes everything that they do. Anything you do, this person finds fault in it, every single thing. So if you are less judgmental, and then in this case more open-minded, and then you understand other perspectives, and then what other people also say, you take it into consideration, it will improve your relationships in the sense that you'd be more understanding of the people around you, and then you'd understand each other, and your relationships may or would become stronger. Another one would be it increases empathy and compassion. So if people who are very judgmental, like Barnabas said, they lack empathy. So if you are less judgmental and more open-minded, you'd be able to understand the things that go on around other people instead of looking at them from your own lenses. You'll be more open-minded. You'll be able to understand people's situations, and empathy is about understanding how people feel in situations. So being less judgmental helps to improve empathy and helps you to be more empathetic. Another one is it improves your problem solving and decision making skills. So if you are open to other perspectives instead of holding just one thinking pattern. Obviously, you'd be okay here. It makes you more open-minded, and as a result, when you have a decision to take, and then you listen to perspectives of other people, you look at the decision or the problem from other points of views, you'd understand that okay, it's not only one way by which I can do it, and if the one way I know there's no solution through that way, there are other ways I could handle this thing, and also there are other ways I could tackle it. So being less judgmental helps you to be more open-minded, and which in the long run helps you to make better decisions. And then the last benefit I'll talk about is personal growth and development. So if you are less judgmental, it improves your relationships. You are able to take decisions better. You are able to relate well with other people. Basically, it helps you in you become more self-aware as a benefit also, and then it helps you with your personal growth and then your development, because now you are able to do things in diverse ways. You are no longer locked with just one. I mean, just your point of view. You are more understanding of things around you, and then as you become less judgmental, you become more self-aware and then reflexive, and in the long run it leads to your personal growth and development. So those are some of the benefits of being less judgmental.
Okay, thanks so much, Ella. So, with all these benefits, what are the ways to be less judgmental?
Okay, so there are various ways or various strategies that we can use that can help us to be less judgmental, and we are going to go through a couple of them that
Okay.
are, I think, are very important and critical, and if we all adapt to it, it can help us to live a more meaningful and a fruitful life. So the first thing that I will talk about is that before you become less judgmental, you have to even pay attention to your thoughts. It's our thoughts that influences our actions, and these thoughts also influences our feelings as well. So you have to pay attention first to your thoughts. So some of the thoughts could be sometimes things that come into our mind and we feel like, oh, what is this person wearing? If you are someone that like criticizing the things that people wear, what is this person saying? Or this person is so this person is so bad, this person looks ugly, this person's shirt looks like this kind of thought that normally comes into our mind. We have to pay attention to those thoughts, because that is where the act of being judgmental starts from. It starts from the thought. You having the thought, then you begin to manifest it, or you begin to process it into action. The next thing is that you have to question your assumptions. So yes, you are having the thought that this person is so negative, this person is so bad, this person doesn't like to associate or mingle with people. With that assumption that you have in your mind, when we say question it, we are going to ask ourselves here that yes, I'm saying this person is this, but do I have all the information, or what information do I have to suggest to me that this person is actually very negative as I'm mentioning, or this person actually doesn't like to associate with people, or he doesn't like my well-being as I'm thinking. So you question those assumptions, and by the time you question those assumptions, if you actually have information to that, it will give you. So the moment you start doing that, your mind might be telling you where you are getting your source of information from. So it could be that, oh, the last time I was passing and I thought I greeted a person and the person didn't respond. And if it's also about greeting, your mind will probably tell you, what about the last time too? When you greeted a person, did the person respond or not? If the person responded, it's going to give you that information as well.
Okay.
So by the time you evaluate, question those assumptions, you are going to get a lot of information or evidence as to why you are thinking this person is so. And by that, you are now going to weigh those evidence that you have to see that even if I'm saying that I greeted this person one time and the person couldn't respond, is there a possibility that the person really didn't hear me, or the person's attention was not drawn to what I was doing,
Okay.
or the person was so much embedded in something, so was not concentrating on other things around the person? So when you do this, when you question your assumptions, it gives you the opportunity to go through all these things and get all this kind of information that will either debunk your assumption or that will either provide some information to hold your assumptions. And by the time you end up doing this, you realize that there are certain things that you may have not considered. Based on that, you made that assumptions, and now when you do that, it's going to give you the chance to now consider other alternatives, other possibilities, which is now in a way making you that open-minded. And you may, based on that alternative, or based on the new information that you've gotten, you may now begin to make new decisions based on those information. And your information or your decision or your opinion will not be limited to only you just seeing one particular instance, or you just seeing a small thing and basing your assumption on. The next thing is that we have to recognize our biases. So for instance, there are certain people that growing up, sometimes the way we are brought up and other things, we have that inward feeling within us. There are certain things that we like, certain things that we don't like. So for instance, there can even be a food that you don't like. So if you don't like that food and someone is eating, that does not mean that that person is weird, or that person is awkward, or that person doesn't know what they are doing. No, it's just because you don't like it. So to you, you not liking that food is your bias. So the fact that someone else likes it does not mean that the person is weird or the person is awkward in that regard. So the first place, if you identify your bias, it helps you to understand that with this bias, I'm likely to show certain negative behaviors or to be judgmental to people who are in this particular group. So the moment you are going closer to any person within that particular group, or any person doing that thing that you don't like, and you have recognized your bias, your mind tells you that, oh, Ella, you are going closer to this person. So once you are going closer to this person, you should be aware that if you don't take care, you might say something that is negative, or you might judge the person. So the moment your mind prompts you that, you become aware, and your likelihood of being judgmental to that person reduces. So the first, we have to be aware of our bias, and our biases can be political bias, and that one, a lot of people even have, there's a lot of tension surrounding it. Sometimes people are fighting each other. It's because we fail to recognize our biases. Sometimes too, it can be religious, and with the guys too. Sometimes it can be your likeness for a particular football club.
Yeah.
And I wonder, sometimes you see some guys fighting over certain clubs and other things. But meanwhile, the Chelsea and the Man U, we don't even know where they are. People fight over them. And this is because we fail to recognize our bias, that we have some bias towards, when it's Chelsea, we have some bias towards it. When it's Barcelona, there's some bias towards it. And even the two football icons, Ronaldo and Messi, like this, you can see people making serious arguments, and sometimes they become furious about this. It's because we all have biases towards each other. So if you are a Ronaldo fan like me, yes, who likes hard work, I believe in hard work, so I like Ronaldo.
Okay.
You have to recognize that you feel like if someone is also trying to project Messi, you are likely to say or look down upon that person because you feel like, oh, he is not within the category that you find yourself. So when we recognize our bias, it gives us the opportunity to be self-aware of the things that could predispose us to be much judgmental, and we don't do that. Sometimes too, our biases could be ethnic related or culturally related. So we have to acknowledge or identify all those things so that we can have that open mind and be less judgmental to people. And the next thing that we can do if we want to be less judgmental is that, so we have to learn to be empathetic. Mostly when people hear being empathetic or empathy, normally what the mind goes on to is that people will tell you that you have to put yourself in someone's shoes. Maybe say so it's not just putting yourself in someone's shoes. It's just about making yourself available to understand what the person is going through. That is all what we mean by empathy. Showing compassion to the person that is going through a particular situation. So if typically is about someone that is anti-social, someone that doesn't like to go closer to people, you have to be much understanding. just as me, for instance, growing up, a lot of people that were not closer to me, they felt that I didn't like people and I was that quiet. But to those that were closer to me, when you go, you meet them and you tell them that, oh, what do you think of Barnabas? Does Barnabas talk? They will tell you that Barnabas can worry you and your day can be miserable. But those that were not closer to me were not seeing that. Until you come closer to me, for me, I was not opening up in that regard. So if you are not empathetic, you are not much understanding to understand what the person is going through, you will not understand that there is what the person, that is how the person actually operates, that is how the person actually does his or her things, to understand them. So if you want to be less judgmental, it means that you have to open yourself up to be much empathetic, to show compassion to people, to be much understanding to people before you make a decision on that. The next thing that we can also do to help us is that we can expand our horizon. Sometimes we make judgment based on a few information that we have. So if you want to make judgment beyond that little information that you have, what it means is that you have to look for other information to inform your decisions. So you can look for new ideas about things that you are normally judgmental about. You can look for new information about people that you are normally judgmental about, and getting this new information, getting these new experiences can help you understand and you form an open-minded view of people. If you are someone that has you are normally judgmental about certain people, you can also travel. A typical example is when I completed university in the Volta region, and I remember during my first year, when I was going, I didn't inform a lot of my friends. So people around me did not actually know. And I grew up in Kumasi. Most of my life I spent it in Kumasi. So when I came back from my first semester and I came around and people saw me asking me, oh, where did you go? I said, oh, I went to school. Then one of them asked me, where did you attend the school? I said, Volta region. The person said, hey, you didn't get anywhere. Volta region. Why did you go there?
Where do I actually cry?
I asked the person why. I said, me, I heard that if you just enter there now, they are juju everywhere on the road and other things, and they can kill you. So I started laughing. So I started telling the person that when I went there, yes, I was also thinking there's nothing like religion and other things there. But there are Christians there. There are people who are pastors there. There are monks there as well. And of course, there are traditional believers too there. And today, if you ask me about people from the Volta region, I can tell you on authority that they are one of the best people that you can actually make friendship with. And by this, I want to say a good morning to one of my friends, Emmanuel Amepo. He has been a very good friend when I met him in Volta region. So if you don't travel sometimes, you will not get to understand that that new perspective, that new idea about some of these people, people that you are having negative beliefs about or you are mostly judging. So if you want to also be less judgmental, it means that you have to expand your horizon, and your horizon can mean that getting new ideas, getting new information about the people or the things that you are mostly judgmental about. And the last thing that I will add is that if you want to actually be less judgmental, you have to also practice what we call positivity. So it's either in practicing positivity, you can find yourself or you can associate yourself or you can surround yourself with people that are mostly positive. So there are certain people that when you go closer to them and wapomo busese, they can have a way or they have a way talking to you, and all of a sudden you are going to feel very optimistic, you are going to feel very hopeful that things are going to work out or things are going to work their way out. And also practicing positivity could mean, the last time we talked more about how we can do this. It can mean that you waking up every day and trying to see the good aspect of what happened within your previous day. So you paying attention or you taking time to reflect over the good things that happened within your day or the good things that has happened within your life. It's also another way of practicing positivity. Or in other way around, people that also like writing, you can be writing the good experiences that you go through within the day in a journal, and once a while you pick it to read over it or to gloss over it. And by doing this, it all has ways to helping us to become less judgmental. So if you want to become less judgmental, we are saying that you should first of all question your thoughts. You should also you should pay attention to your thoughts. Then you should question your assumptions. You can also recognize your biases. You have to be empathetic. Then you have to also expand your horizon and also practice positivity. So AKB, these are some of the things that we can do to help us.
Okay, many thanks to you, Barnabas. And then coming back to Ella, today, dear, I'm just trying. Yeah, I'm just trying.
Try for us.
So Ella, how do you know, from the way people have described a judgmental person, be with a judgmental person, it will not be easy. So how do you deal with someone who is in your life who is judgmental?
Okay, AKB. So some of the ways by which you can deal with a judgmental person is to, first of all, set clear boundaries. So you should establish clear limits on what you are willing to discuss with the person, and then what you are willing to take. So if this person starts to cross those boundaries, then you find a way to shut them up. Some of the times, the people who are very judgmental in our lives are people we cannot stay away from. For example, family. So like, let me use our parents and us. Our parents are from a different generation, and we are from a different generation. So the way things were done then and the way some things are done now are very different. So a lot of the time they feel like what we are doing makes no sense, and in a way, even if they don't know it, they become one of the most judgmental people, some of the most judgmental people in our lives.
And maybe what we are doing doesn't really make sense now.
So yes, in a situation where you are surrounded by people who are very judgmental, yet you cannot establish those boundaries with them because of the type of relationship you have with them, you should seek support from people that you can discuss those issues you are having with your parents with. For me, when I have issues like that with my parents, majority of the time I worry shahada. So yes, when it becomes too much, you seek support from people that could help you bring up your mood, or the positive people in your life. Another way is also to avoid taking it personally. Certain times what they are saying, the person believes that what they are saying is the best thing for you. So even if you feel like this person is doing too much, you should not take what the person is saying personally, because it's what they are saying is literally a reflection of themselves and not of you. And so when whatever a judgmental person is saying, if you believe that what they are saying is not what is actually what that's happening, you should avoid taking whatever they are saying personally. Another way is to be more open-minded. If you are more open-minded and somebody who is very judgmental in your life is saying something, since you are open-minded, you understand that there are several points of views around. And so if the person is saying something and then holding strongly to a view, you just understand that, okay, that's what you believe in, and it's fine to believe in what you believe in. And so you'd be able to cope with such a person. And then the last thing I'll talk about is to cut the person off if possible. If you are surrounded by friends who are very judgmental, or yes, the worst case scenario.
Okay.
If you are surrounded by friends, or you are surrounded by people who constantly bring you down, who are constantly judging everything that you do, they don't make you feel good about yourself. So if you are surrounded by people who are who contribute negatively to your life and you see it is affecting you, you should, if possible, cut them off and then surround yourself with more supportive people and more positive people in order to being judgment. When you are surrounded by judgmental people, it could affect your self-esteem in a very big way. So if possible, you cut them off in order to improve your life, in order to improve all the aspects of your life that their negativity is affecting. So these are some of the ways by which you can cope with or deal with the judgmental people in your life.
Okay, thanks so much for taking us through how to be less judgmental and then how to cope with people who are judgmental and the benefits of being less judgmental. Many thanks to you for joining us this morning on the mental health show. So let me quickly take your final words before we go. Ella?
Okay, so I'd like to say a good morning to all our viewers and listeners, and thank you to Fila FM for giving us the opportunity to be here this morning.
Okay, Barnabas.
Okay. Thank you to my in charge, Mama Yvonne, back at West Hospital, and my HR, Madam Getty, also back at West Hospital. And a couple of my colleagues also at West Hospital have been following us, and I say good morning to them as well. And our listeners, both the silent ones and the visible or active ones that we know, that once a while we get to meet some of them in town. I just want to say good morning to you all, and also let's all continue to watch. And also, if we are having or you are someone that is experiencing this and all these methods that we talked about, you still find it difficult to actually become more open-minded, there are psychologists around in Tamale that can help you. So you can come to West Hospital, or you go to Central or the teaching hospital. There are people there that can help you become more open-minded and be less judgmental in that regard. So AKB, thank you very much for the opportunity.
Okay, and thanks to you as well for joining me this morning. 10 billion Pala Emanuela from TTH Psychology Unit, and also Barnabas Atangongo from the Tamale West Hospital Mental Health Unit. Thanks so much to Kumsin Matthew, and also to apologize to the Facebook viewers, because it looks like today the network is very, 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 very bad. So it's me and Yana Sobako Kra, a movie back on Jinasa. So if you are a Facebook lover, we apologize, and your fault, because Kayan Kwanki and Penasa. So Mufa and Che. Thanks to all our listeners. And very shortly, when we get the signal, we will join the nation's capital for the discussion segment by Kind Katsi DBS.